Okay. I'm gonna have to cut this. The name of this video, White Americans, there's no such thing, is because people, we are not white, we are of color, and some of us do not have pigmentation in our skin, right? I put it over here because it makes the thing was drooping. So it took me watching a few of my videos to realize. But all right. So the name of this, I still feel wet. Oh. There are, let's see, yeah. So from time untold, people in power have been putting the people that are not in power against one another so that we don't vote together. White people, you're just black people without the pigmentation. So the theory that was put in the air and put in your head that everybody's going to have color, everybody's going to look dark or have tint to their skin or look like me, it's 2023. So if there are older people still thinking and believing that, I mean older than me, I'm about to be 56. So people older than me that are thinking that and that are believing that, by now they know that that's not true. But they're still voting for white people. They're still voting for white people. This country is full of people that are non-white. And if our government is supposed to look like the people of this country, why are there so many white people in the government? Why do our judges, why are they all white? Mostly. So there's the 1% that controlled everything. And then there's the 2% who, through struggling or through being passed down their generational wealth, they made it and they're not poor. And that 2% keeps voting and putting the people into office that you see now. So with this cord, while I share what I want to share with you about the white race, about white Americans. So I think before I was showing you guys that I went through, because I like to show you where I get my information from. I went to the government, the actual government site, www.state.gov/investment-affairs/bilateral investment treaties and related agreements of the United States bilateral investment treaties. Okay, so and this is the official site. Now you can't see it. Bilateral, whatever. It came out gray. Here it is. Okay, I also went on the government site and I pointed out who was in the House of Representatives, right? I also went on the site and printed who's been in Congress, who's been there the longest, what committees they sit on, because I was curious as to why these people keep getting in. Who's deceased in our Congress, House of Representatives for July 2022, who those people are. I'm showing you, so when I say the things that I say, you won't say, this lady just making it up. This lady don't know what she's talking about. This is this lady's opinion. It's my opinion on the information that the government is presenting. And I'm going to share it with you because I am so sick and tired of this government not paying reparations to the 4% of Black Americans who are past due, and the 1% of white Americans who are past due their reparations. Some people won't say that to you, but there's about 1%, maybe a little less, I'm just rounding up, and maybe 3.8%, and I'm just rounding up to 4% of Black and white Americans that are in this country that the government owes us reparations for the slaves that were stolen and brought to this country after 1779. Because the original slaves that was all over, where everybody had slaves all over, I see videos on that, but they don't realize is that Mr. Sowell, he only did the videos on when slavery was everywhere and it wasn't a thing. Well, that was before the United States was the United States. Back then, the United States was a colony when they had slaves everywhere, and they brought the slaves here. But then slavery was abolished. It was abolished by all of the kings and queens in Spain, Africa, Europe, Portuguese. See, that's who started this slavery. And back then, that slavery was based on like your class. It wasn't about abusing you. It wasn't about getting you to make babies so that those babies could work for free and build a country. United States started that. Hence the war in 1887. Well, that was the end of the war. It started in 1883, 84. And it lasted from, I believe, 84, 85, 86, and then it ended in 87. In 1887, not 1987. So from the time of 1778 or 79, when all of the powers that be said, this is wrong, and they did it for different reasons, not because they were moral. They did it because they were being slaughtered by the natives in the lands that they were trying to colonize. So it was easier for them to enter into a treaty. Mm-hmm. See, a lot of y'all don't know this because you won't take the time to go back and read it. And I don't expect you to do it. And I'm not here to give a history lesson. But I am going to explain when I see the younger people being misled or just themselves misunderstanding what originally happened between the slavery that Thomas Sowell is talking about that was all over, not just the United States, because before the United States was the United States, it was Turtle Island. It did not belong to us. The United States was colonized, people. Some people think the United States was just here and it was developed. No, it wasn't just here. The United States has had several names. It has always been populated. It wasn't colonized, but it was always inhabited. It was always populated. I haven't done enough research to know what the name of it was prior to Turtle Island. But that's what the people who inhabited what we call the United States, North America, that's what it was. It was called Turtle Island. Prior to that, back in the 1200s, 1100s, I don't know what this piece of land was called. I don't know who inhabited it. I don't know if anybody studied it. I'm still looking it up. But what's relevant to me and what's relevant for what I'm saying for this video about white people thinking that you are not us, you are us without pigmentation. So people figured out a long, long time ago, before Hitler did what he did to the Jewish people, they figured out that if you control the masses of the people, you can lead the government and you can do what you want with the government. Okay, now that was all way back then, before there was electricity. Why are we still letting that happen now? Because people are arguing about abortion. People are arguing about who's gay and who's not gay. Being gay is in the Bible. It is. Cross-dressing is in the Bible. It's in the Old Testament of the Bible, but it's in there. Being prostitution It's in the Bible. But let me tell you what the Bible does not have. It doesn't have the word Hispanic, referring to a race of people. It doesn't have the word Black, referring to a race of people. It doesn't have the word white or Caucasian, referring to a race of people. It doesn't have Asian. The word Asia and Asian is in the Bible, but it's talking about land. It ain't talking about an Asian person. And all you MAGA people, you'll swear to God that you are the most religious people in the world. And the Bible guides all your acts. And I don't expect you to go and read that Bible, because that Bible is, the people who wrote the Bible, they knew what they were doing when they wrote it. And if you're not just under being a scholar, it's a lot of times it's very difficult to understand what that Bible is saying and to interpret what it means. Unless you go to Sunday school and you have an opportunity to sit there and ask, what is this? What does this mean? What is this saying? Like I did. And I got that years and years and years. And so thankfully, at my church, they were interested in teaching us these things in Sunday school. As a matter of fact, that's why I didn't get baptized until I think I was 8 or 9, because I think I started going to the church at 7. But they wouldn't baptize you until you understood who Jesus was, what Jesus did, why a human form of Jesus was sent to the earth through the Virgin Mary, right? You couldn't be baptized when I was coming up until you understood that as a child. So nobody could tell you later on how Jesus got here and which Jesus came to earth. Then when you grow up and you become an adult, you realize, oh, okay, that's why they said that. Oh, okay, this is what this meant. Again, well, this ain't about the Bible. So, this is about white people thinking that they are not Black. You are Black people with no pigmentation, white people. That's who you are. That is who you are. And it's okay to want to continue to exist. It's okay to want to have people like you and that look like you. And you're never going to not exist, because that's the reason why you exist in the first place. The reason why you exist, this is supposed to be up here. Just trying to get my edges, not the actual hair. The reason why you exist, white people, in the first place, is because a person of color had you. You didn't have pigmentation in your skin, but you're still us. We are still you. You're not a separate, you didn't become a separate, different thing. It's just that as time went on, electricity got invented and invention became an invention. When the word invention was invented, people said, we can make money, but there's not enough for everybody. And then that's when they established what? Classes of people. So let me fast forward to today. Okay. And elaborate on the classes of people. The majority class of people in the United States are the poor class. Middle class is gone. Y'all can't even buy houses no more. Y'all renting houses. Talking about you own them. Talking about rent to own. Okay. So, people made treaties back in the day. Oops. I'll take this one out. And the reason they made the treaties is because people who lived in those lands, and it was more advantageous for the government that was in charge, that had come over and took over other people's land. It was more advantageous for them to have an agreement and a treaty with people instead of trying to kill people and rape and slaughter, people who were coming into church, and they were saying that these type of things were barbaric. And how can you run a government and say that your religion is a religion of your territory or your colony when you're killing people and it's against what religious beliefs is? All right. So I said that to say, I printed this last year, September, about a year ago, just so you know. Don't believe me? Here's the date. Wait a minute, where are you? Nope. Where are you? Right here. Okay, that says September 5th, 2022. It's almost September again. I've been doing research on other things because there's so much. There's so much going on, and there's so much information, and there's so much outdated information that I want to bring. And I knew this video was going to be very long, because I can't sit for a long time anyway. And I figure I'd make the whole thing, then go back in and cut what I need. Because I don't do editing. Anybody who watches my videos will know I don't do editing. So I try to just come in and be careful about what I'm saying about treaties. I mean, you're going to think this is boring, but it's not a boring video. Just take the time to listen to it. I'm going to try and keep it under 20 minutes. And just show you the things that I really need you to see. Because when you're voting, you're making decisions to send our money out of this country because of who you're putting in office. And nobody's showing you these things. And I said, I bet you if I took and did a video and just fine-tuned that video to show people, when I sit on there and I say that we should be having money for the people, I bet you y'all wouldn't think I was talking crazy anymore. I'll show you. Literally show you. Also wanted to show you what the government said the population is. All right, let me leave it there a few seconds because you can always pause the video and then look close to see what I'm showing you. So this is what I'm showing you. This is what the government says the population of the white race is 2010 and 2020. So alone, the white race, the black races alone is in this column. Then in combination, where they mix us up together, and then alone or in a combination. So if you're white and something else. In 2010, the white race was 233 billion people. I kid you not. Now, they only say that in America, There's only 350 million people. And of those 350 million people, only 1/3 votes. So how can we possibly be 223 million of those three, not billion, I'm sorry, the white population in America is 223 million. 2010. In 2020, the white population was 204,277,273 people. So if you subtract 23 million people, or 223 million from 204 million, 19 million white people are no longer in this country. According to this, let me show you what I'm talking about. This says whites, blacks, da 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 da. These are the races of people, right, in this country. In 2010, these are the numbers. In 2020, these are the numbers. So if you look in the column that says alone for white people, the number is 223 million, right? Now go over here to 2020 and say alone in the white column. It's 204 million. So what happened to 19,000 people and white people in 10 years? Where'd y'all go? Are you no longer producing? Are you no longer being born? You see, this is how they keep racial tensions going between people who are the exact same people. Now, look at the black column. I'm not going to do all of them. The black column says there were 38,929,313 black people in 2010. Flip on over to 2020, and now we have 41,104,200 people. So we have went up. White people have gone down. Are we still 13% of the population? See, that was never true, but that's not the point of this. So 3 million more black people have been born. So why is Congress saying, and why are people making videos saying that abortion is killing us? We ain't having abortions. Seems to me like y'all having the abortions, and in conjunction with the abortions, you're of mixed race, and in conjunction with being mixed race, you stop having babies by your white counterpart. That's why 19 million white people within a span of 10 years have stopped. It didn't go up. Now they have in here American Indians and Alaska Natives. And then they have Asians. So that's 2.9 million in 2010, right? And then if you go over here, 2020, it is now 3.7 million. So their numbers are up by 1 million people. Now let's do the Asians. Asians were 14,574,252 in 2010. In 2020, Asians are 19 million. They done popped up 5 million more people in America in over a span of 10 years. Oh, they having their babies. Yeah, 19,886,049. Now let's go to the Hawaiians and other Pacific Islanders. Alone in 2010, there was 540,013 Pacific Islanders and or Hawaiians, countless in America. Well, they're in Hawaii, but Hawaii is a territory of the United States. Now let's go over here to 2020, 10 years later. Now there's 689,966 babies are being born, babies on the rise, population is rising. See that? Almost 100,000 people. What is that, 60,000? What's the difference? 140,000 more Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders in a 10-year span. See, everybody race going up. White race coming down. Now they get into some other race, and then they got 2 or more races. Now, what some other race is, I don't know, but whoever they put in this category, there's 19 million of them. And whoever they put in the other category, 2 or more races. If you consider yourself 2 or more races, there's 9 million of you. 2010, that some other race went from 19 million up to 27 million. That's 8 million more people, roundabout. Then it's 2 or more races went from 9 million. I kid you not when I say this, because you're not going to believe me. If you are 2 or more races, in 2010, there were 9,000, in 2010, there were 9 million people in the United States or a territory that were 2 or more races in 2010. Go forward 10 years. Now there are 33 million, 2 or more races. 33,848,945. I'm not going to go over the other ones, like I said. And then it shows you the numeric difference. Like I was just calculating in my head, but this shows you the actual number. That's less 19,275, 992 less. When you subtract this 2010 column from this alone 2020. If you subtract this in combination with this in combination, then this gives you the number. And so that's why they have alone, in combination, alone, or in combination. Okay, but I'm not going to go through all that. I'm just guesstimating the number. 24 million people. 24,839,870 2 or more races of people are in the United States. And you white people are worried about black people? MAGA, why are you worried about black people in the United States? I told you Donald Trump is none of your friends. And I said in plenty of videos, he don't even like y'all. See, y'all considered white. But 2 or more races is people that are Russian and German and Jewish and all those other races, right? Hispanics. They white skin and blue eyes. Some of them think they're white, but because they have European in them. But I got European in me. I don't call myself white. All right. I will read this one footnote. It says, note, the total of all race categories alone or in combination is equal to the number of responses. Therefore, it adds to more than the total of the population, because that's what I mistakenly said when I said billion. I meant to say million. When I said, how can there be that many white people when there's only 350 million people in total population in the United States? So your percentages are not right. And the reason why your percentages are not right is because we are more than 13% black people of the population. Because even if you take and put us in combination anywhere in this list, we got our DNA all throughout that. All right. There's a reason why I am showing you this population, because it's only 3 years later, and they only do it every 10 years. So the next one is not out. The next one will say 2030, right? And there'll be less white people. You don't want to know why? Because we keep having babies by each other. And that's how you're going to get rid of racism. But right now, there's still a stranglehold on on the population and everything. The people who are in charge and in office are doing everything based on race, because they want to stay in power. In power. That's Donald Trump's thing, and the people that are following him. They don't see race. So I make the video to get y'all to understand. Yeah, we know Donald Trump is saying racist things. Yes, we know there are people, but the things that he's saying is not so much about black skin or white skin or this or that. He's really talking about classes of white people. Only thing is, MAGA doesn't realize they're not in the class that he's talking about. But they think that white skin will save them. If Donald Trump had his way, he would get rid of every MAGA and replace them with the other white people. Are you supporting somebody that don't want your demise? Black people don't want to kill white people. Okay. This. Where's my thing? Oh, here it is. Oh, actually, let me get this stapler out the way. Okay. This list right here is who we have treaties with. One, two, goes all the way back to this page. So all these pages and this are all the countries that we have treaties with. This says the date of signature, when the treaty was signed. I'm not going to go through all of them. A few on the first page and then a couple at the back. And this says the date that it was entered into force. In other words, this is when it was active. The treaty was actually active. And what they put in the treaty, they had to do. Treaties. Treaties. Okay, that's the word. So Albania, January 11th, 1995. And it was enforced January 4th, 1998, 3 years later. Because sometimes they have to get the money up and get the plans in place and get everybody in line like they're supposed to. Dot your I's, cross your T's. Sometimes people are leaving office and another government is coming in, and then they renegotiate. Okay, so Belarious is here, that we did have a treaty January 15th, 1994, but it says NA. I'll read the notation later as to when it became enforceable. Armenia, Argentina, Azur, Beygin. We have a treaty with Azerbaijan, August 1st, 1997, and it went into force August 2nd, 2021. What country is that? Why do we have a treaty with these people? Wait till you see how much money we spent of our tax dollars. And see, this is what I'm telling you about people who have been in office for 30 years or more, or the ones that come into office to replace them, that they hand select, the conservatives. Bahrain, Bangladesh, we've heard of that. I'm reading the ones that we really haven't heard of. We heard of Bolivia. We heard of Bulgaria. Cameroon, we've heard of. Congo, Democratic Republic. Congo Democratic Republic of Brazzaville. Who are these people? Croatia, we've heard of that. Czech Republic, Ecuador, Egypt, El Salvador. That El Salvador has an NA, a notation. I'll go and read it. Estonia. Why we have a treaty with Estonia? Georgia. We've heard of Georgia. Grenada. We've heard of Grenada. Haiti. Again, it has an NA with a number 4 notation. We've heard of Honduras. I'm not going to read all the years that they became enforced, but all of them are in the 90s, 2005, 2000. This one is 2012. Rowanda, 2012. They're all old. They're all old. But we still have treaties with them. We're still paying them hundreds of millions of dollars of our taxes that could be paid to us through what? Money for the People Fund. I talked about it in my other video, giving us a weekly check that is exempt from everything. Just like this, a treaty with Americans is what I'm talking about. And you cannot send the money to another country. You actually have to qualify as an American to actually get the checks. I don't sound so crazy now, do I? Russia, 1992. Enforced, has an NA notation 5. Senegal. What is Senegal? What? And this is an outdated list. Of course, we've heard of Slovakia, Sri Lanka, we've heard of that, Trinidad and Tobago, Tuninsia. Not a lot of people have heard of Tuninsia. Turkey, we've heard of. Ukraine, we've heard of. 1994, and it was enforced in 1996. Uruguay, but not Paraguay. Why? They're right next to each other. Does Paraguay still exist? And then this one is Uzbekistan, December 1994, and it has a notation. So the notes at the bottom, if it said 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or 6, there was a notation. So I'm only going to read the ones where there was a notation. And number 1 didn't have anything, but it just says entry into force pending exchange of instruments of ratification. That's signing the documents, ratifying the agreement, or affirming the agreement. Number 2 says that it was formerly Zaire or Zaire. Z-A-I-R. Formerly this country was Zaire. And that was number okay, Belarious is the one where it said notation 1. And number 2, El Salvador is another one. Number 2. Oh, see, I guess we no longer have it because I don't even see it on here. Yeah, I don't even see the country anymore that they said was formerly Zaire. Unless I overlooked it, and I didn't. Oh, here it is. Congo Domestic Republic of the, this used to be Zaire or Zaire, the Congo. And then the other one is Czech Republic. And that used to be, number 3 says the treaty signed on October with the Czech and Slovak Federal Republic and has been enforced in the Czech Republic and Slovakia as separate states since January 1st, 1993. Why list them together? I don't know. But I think in their country, they're listed together. But for our country, we have separate, we recognize them as 2 separate states that we have treaties with. This might explain what's going on with Japan and China and, Hong Kong and things like that. Why we can have a treaty with China and something with Japan and something with, okay. All right. But remember, these are the people that you all voted for and put into office because rich corporations have businesses in these lands. I keep saying to you, why? Why do we have agreements with them? Why did people that appear to be like you and me get into Congress and then they make agreements with people like this? Because who put them in office? The corporations put them in office. Corporations that people don't have to be even American citizens. They're just using American citizens, paying for their campaigns, giving them backdoor money millions of dollars through these companies that they have in these lands that it is not in their name, but they are either on the board or they get stock, they give them stocks. And so the United States is really being controlled by foreign entities. At one point, foreign entities wanted to take over America. But they figured out that they don't need to take over America. They just need to have a politician like the Bidens and the Pelosi's and the Schumers and the Trumps and the Clintons and the Obamas, right? Yes, I know the Democrats, but they're playing ball. And this is why Nancy Pelosi's husband got fucked up. They were sending her a message. If that really happened to him, I'm still skeptical. Anyway, I'm not going to go through all of them. There's 4 of 6 pages, and it just, tells you what party is what. It's just the notations. This one says in 2012, the date of termination, the treaty ceased to have effect, except that it will continue to apply for another 10 years to cover investments existing at the time of the termination. So that's the treaties where we got into a treaty, an agreement, and they said, we're going to pay you this much money and you're going to give us this. Or you're going to give us this and we're going to pay you this much money for it. So even if the treaty, which says here, terminated in 2012, and likely that's because the government changed and they wanted to change the agreement, or they weren't upholding the agreement in the 1990s, or whenever they signed it, says even if there's a termination before it's time to renew the treaty is good for yo many years, no matter what government takes office. Well, a lot of times that's how we lose out on our investment and lose out on our money that's supposed to be coming back in. The government of Ecuador has delivered to the United States a notice of termination for the bilateral investment treaty between the two countries. As of May 18, 2018, the date of termination, and that was only 5 years ago, the treaty ceased to have effect, except that it will continue to apply for another 10 years. So that's 2028, another 5 years, to cover investments existing at the time of the termination. You can read it for yourself. Pause the screen and look at the top of this. Hopefully it's coming in so you can see it. I'll read it as well. But this is the date that I printed this. September 5th, 2022. From the official website of the United States government. And I think I read you the website, or I showed you the website in the earlier one. Right? When I showed you where I printed this from. If you want to go and see it. I believe I put the website up. Just in case I didn't. What's this? Let me close that up. Got to get to that. Well, where's the first one that had the website on it? Oh, here it is. Sorry. Get it together, Golda. I showed you the top of the page, but I should have showed you the bottom of the page, because this is where you can go and get the website. I don't know how well you can read it. I'll keep it still for a few minutes. And what it says is https:// www.state.gov/investment-affairs/bilateral-investments-treaties hyphen the word and, A-N-D, hyphen related, hyphen agreements / United hyphen States hyphen bilateral hyphen investments hyphen treaties / Okay, some people call a hyphen a dash. Okay, it's not the underscore, it's the little dash or the hyphen. Okay, like that. So this thing is horrible to look at. All right, so the purpose of those treaties was so that other people remain rich and we remain poor. This was not done to help our country. This was not done because we needed goods from those countries. We could have our own goods right in this country. Are we paying for goods for somebody else's country? What are they giving us that we can't build and farm? I mean, unless it is something that we have to get from another country, we should have been supporting our farmers right here in the United States. Should we have not? And I used to hear the excuse when I was younger that, oh, well, we can't grow it as fast as we need it because population is just so big. Another lie. I know a lie when I hear one now. I didn't always. But now I know a lie when I hear one from the government. And they've been telling that lie for a long time. Now let me show you this. These are the type of trade agreements. I'm not going to read them to you. I'm just going to put them to the thing. We have an agreement called Environmental Goods Agreement. We have something called Trade Promotion Authority. Again, you can always, and it tells you what it is and all the, what it is, why it's important, and da-da-da-da-da, right? For America and Americans. Trade in Service Agreement. Okay, you pull it up, you read it, you'll see what it says. It's talking about your GDP, okay? G, gross, D, domestic, P, product. Gross domestic product. So what we as a country overall make, all of our products that we have for sale to other countries, right? Domestic, not international. Domestic is in this country what we produce. Product is, whatever the product is, food, clothing, mechanics, whatever the product is, right? All of this and all of these things are important to what I'm about to share with you. All right. There's something called BIT documents, BIT documents. And this is the one for Uraguay, and then there's one for United States, and between United States and Uraguay, United States and Rwanda. Yes, Rwanda, BIT documents. I haven't gone in there to look at what these documents are, but it says that below are two recently concluded bilateral investment treaties. So they've ended. But where are the new ones between these two, Uruguay and, because they do come to an end, but then they get refunded again with our tax dollars. Our tax dollars is funding these treaties. Y'all know that? Where's all our tax money going? I'm about to show you. I'm about to show you where it's going, where it's been going, and why we need to stop making up excuses why we can't vote together to vote in people who will give us that one-time payment reparations for those who qualify for it. Right? Those who qualify for it. They have a trade and investment framework agreement as time went on. And then they list all the countries. Well, let's see if Rwanda and Uruguay is on there, because their agreements have terminated, right? Oh, do I have my pages backwards? Okay, so I see Ukraine, United Arab Emirates, Arabic, Yemen, Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Fiji, Cambodia, Laos, Malaysia, New Zealand, Philippines, Thailand, Vietnamese, common market in Eastern and Southern Africa, common markets in Eastern and Southern Africa, Portuguese, common markets, Eastern and Southern Africa, French, East African Community, Guana, they got West American states, Community of West American States, Portuguese, Community of West American States, French, Guam, Liberia, Mauritius, Mozambique, BQ, Nigeria, Rwanda, South Africa, West Africa Economy and Monetary Union, West African Economy and Monetary Union, French. Now we get to the Americas, because that one right there, this was in Africa, United States and Africa. These are the African countries and the Black. And then here we get to the American framework treaties agreements. U.S. and Argentina, U.S. and Argentina Spanish, U.S. and Brazil Protocol on Trade Rules and Transparency, U.S. and CARICOM, U.S. and Ecuador Trade Facilitations Protocol in English, and then there's one in Spanish, U.S. and Ecuador again. There's two Ecuadors. One is TIC and one is TIFA. Trade, TIFA is trade, this one, Trade and Investment Framework Investment. Then there's some that's not under this framework, but it's under here, but there's another one added to it. I'm just not reading it. Ecuador, so they have one that's Ecuador that's under TIFI, and they have one that's Ecuador that's under TIC. Paraguay, Uruguay. So why do they need to even be included in the 2022 ones if theirs have terminated? Because they've probably renegotiated it by now, but they can't print it yet. They can't show us, the American people, because we can go on there and see you're still spending $100 million in this country. Then they have European and the Middle East, U.S. and Algeria, U.S. and Armenia, U.S. and Bahrain, Bahrain, TIF Arabic, Bahrain, TIF, Bahrain, TIF Arabic, Egypt, and the Framework for Trade, Economy, Investment and Technology Corporation, US and GCC. I don't even know what the hell that is, what country that is. Of course, there's Georgia, English, Georgia and Georgian, Iceland, Iraq, Kuwait, Lebanon, Arabic, Lebanon, English, Libya, English, Libya, Arabic, Oman, Qatar, Arabic, Saudi Arabia, Arabic, Switzerland, TICE. Okay, so just know that when they send men and women in our armed services over to these countries, and the people who live in the city bomb them, wait till you see how much money we're spending in these countries. I'm not going to go over all of them. You guys have to go online if you really want to look and see for yourself. But this is why I'm taking the time to go through. This is why I'm taking the time to go through and show you where I got the information from. So I don't want anybody to think I'm making it up and I'm just saying things to get us to vote together, because guess what I'm doing? I'm explaining things so we can vote together and stop voting against one another. Because the only color that matters to me is the green. I don't give a damn about your white ass, your black ass, your Hispanic ass. Be who you want, live with who you want, have babies with who you want. But we got to stop voting against each other, because 1% of this country, the uber rich, this is their business interest, all of this. We don't own these businesses. We don't have stock in these businesses. They're not letting us in, and they're controlling who is in our government. And they've got us to fight against each other over abortion, LGBTQ, white, black, all of this that we fighting against, and they're still getting what the fuck they want from us, our tax dollars, to invest in their shit that they don't give back to us. Trade agreements. This tells you what's in the trade agreements. If you go on the website, all of it's there. Take an hour and look at it. Mongolia. U.S. Mongolia trade facts. And then it explains the trade facts. Now, I didn't print one for each one of these. Oh, yes, I did. I'm sorry. I printed one for each one of these, but I'm not going to go over it for each one of these. But why are we doing business with Mongolia? Why are we doing business with Macau? Macau or Macau. This is the thing I wanted to staple, so I didn't get them. Ooh, so I don't get them mixed up. Why are we still doing business with Hong Kong and the People's Republic of China? Taiwan. Why do we have separate agreements with this country? I specifically printed these out so that I could share certain things with you. This part that I'm about to share is the important part. I'm start with Taiwan. Oh, hold on a second. Okay. All right. Taiwan. Taiwan says, should have made myself Should have made myself a drinky drink. Taiwan says, United States, Taiwan trade facts. Overview. In 2020, Taiwan gross domestic product was estimated at 635.5 billion. Real gross domestic product was up by an estimate of 0.0%, and the population was 24 million. And then it says the source is IMF. U.S. goods and services trade with Taiwan totaled an estimate of 105.9 billion. In 2020, that's 3 years ago, the exports, what went out, was 39.1 billion. The imports, what came in, were 66.7 billion. The United States goods and services trade deficit with Taiwan was $27.6 billion in 2020. Why? What are we purchasing from them? Are you gonna put it in here? Because I skimmed them to see. So this is just the overview. Trade and services. Did I skip one? Yes. Taiwan is currently our 9th largest good trading partner with 90.6 billion in total. Two-way. Goods going out, goods coming in. Great goods trade during 2020. Goods exported totaled 30.2 billion. Goods imported totaled 60.4 billion. The United States good trades deficit, that means we're in debt with Taiwan, was 30.2 billion in 2020. What the fuck are we purchasing from Taiwan that we can't grow in the United States with that type of investment? What? I'm gonna get to it. I just wanted to sink in how much of our tax dollars is being sent to all of these countries. All of these countries. I couldn't bring up all of them and do all of them. And I don't need to. You should get the gist from just this one. But I pulled out some because what the fuck are we buying from Taiwan? What? Let's find out. Because the exports, what we're sending out is here. That's why I'm not reading the whole thing. I'm just reading the parts that need to be read. And I believe then there's the trade balance, and then there's the investments. Okay. And then the imports, what they're sending in. Well, you know what? Let me even do the imports first instead of the exports. Taiwan was the United States' 10th largest supplier of goods imported into the United States, and this is what we're paying for, what they're importing in 2020. Now, of course, they have to make money, so we have to pay them. But what they send in is exports. What we send out, what they send in is imports, IMPORTS. What we send out is exports, EXPORTS. So they're the 10th United States, Taiwan, on goods that we import in here. United States goods imports from Taiwan totaled 60.4 billion in 2020. It was up 11.4%, $6.2 billion from 2019, and up 69% from 2010 when the contract was negotiated or terminated and then because remember, all these contracts come back from the 1990s, most of them. And so they terminate and then they renegotiate another agreement and then they get a new date, or they extend it another 10 years, right? From the list that I just showed you, the year of enforcement. The top import categories in 2020 were Electronic machinery, $19 billion. Machinery, $18 billion. Vehicles, $2.9 billion. Iron and steel products, $2.6 billion. And plastics, $2.2 billion. Now, use a motherfucking lie. What is Taiwan selling us? Vehicles from Taiwan? Electronic machinery? You got something in your house, electronic machinery, that accounts for that we went out and purchased it, and to the tune of $19 billion, 2019, excuse me, 2020, 3 years ago. Because this is what the government did with our money. They paid them. And they're doing the breakdown of why they paid them so much based on what was purchased from Taiwan. You really believe that believe we purchased machinery from Taiwan for $18 billion? And that we got electronic machinery for another $19 billion? And that we got plastic for $2.2 billion? Really? From Taiwan? Why is it that Taiwan can produce this machinery and we can't? Taiwan. So you see the problem with when Nancy Pelosi and now McCarthy went over there and they said, fuck China, we're doing business with Taiwan, well, over here in Hong Kong and all these other ones, is because they have agreements that say, and instead of them just explaining this simply like I am, or bringing up the agreement that they made from back then, and that the agreement has just been the agreement has been renegotiated or either terminated, and then a new trade agreement was created with other countries, so that we know where our tax dollars are being spent. This is just Taiwan. All of the countries that I showed you, some of which I never heard of. And I don't know what product we're getting from these countries that we can't produce in America. It's because I looked on here, I said, oh, we better not be buying rice from these motherfuckers for $69 billion. So I said, let me look it up, because it has to be, the government has to show us where they're spending. Because mind you, it ain't their motherfucking money. It's ours. Not Golda's, but Golda's and every other taxpayer who ever paid taxes in this motherfucking country. This is my money they're spending and sending to another country. I tell you to do that on my behalf, because and this is why progressives get in, there's not enough of them, and their hands get tied, because the agreements that were there before they got in office. This is why I keep saying, please, let's put progressives in so they can cut down on some of this bullshit right here. See, they get their money. They get their paycheck. Let's raise their paycheck, cut some of this bullshit out, raise the paycheck for people in Congress to $350,000 a year, and then have them do things for us, like that one-time reparation payment to those of us who qualify based on lineage. Not if you migrated here, or if you came here and you got caught up in slavery. Not slavery. If you got caught up in the discriminations in this country because you migrated here from your country of origin. Of course, racism was going on back then. So, of course, you'd be exposed to it. The total of agriculture products from Taiwan totaled 539 million in 2020. Leading categories include baked goods, cereals, pasta at $103 million, nursery products and cut flowers, $60 million. Why are we buying cut flowers from Taiwan? Having them imported here, and then selling them back to ourselves. Why are we taking our tax dollars, paying $60 million to another country, having them do the same thing we could be doing in our country, but we're paying them $60 million to flowers, nursery products like Pampers. We can't make that in America. We got to pay these people $60 million to make it, send it back to us with drugs in the containers, by the way, that the government is, we just gonna look the other way. And then when the products get here that they purchase with our tax dollars, we then have to go out and purchase this stuff because America is not making it for us, right? It can be manufactured. Manufactured means it's a company in America that put it in the boxes. It's a company in America that put it in the boxes. I don't care who pack what and put on the shelves and send to the stores. I care about why we aren't making the nursery products in America. Yes. Hold on. Who is it? Who is it? Oh, my keys are right here. Okay, so that's the thing that I wanted to point out to show how we're wasting money in this country. Now, it's okay to do business with other countries, but there's the business behind the business. Why is the United States responsible for making sure that they have an industry of $1 billion to $2 billion or trillions of dollars over the years? It adds up to trillions and trillions of dollars. This is the money that we're spending in our trade agreements with these other poor countries. And every raggedy motherfucker come from another country and come to this country, and they look down at American people as if, oh, you guys, you don't know how to make it. But you over here on our tax dollars. How do we not know how to make it in America when it is our money that's feeding your goddamn country and your government? That's our money. Bring your pride and humble yourself and be a little more appreciative when you come to this fucking country. Those of you who do it. Because we are feeding your country. And the fact that you come from one of these countries and you're able to get a home and get a job and go to school and go to college, you did that off of the government's bucks, not your own. So even when you say, in my country, we worked and we saved our money and we did this, guess where you got that motherfucking money from? Our taxes. Then you came here, and because of the political climate and the political system, they allowed you to make a certain amount of money. And they allowed others, whites and poor whites and poor black people that were already born in or this is our country of origin. They are not investing in us. Now, I don't have a problem with people taking tax dollars and investing in another country somewhere, but the fuck you gonna invest in our country? You gonna have a treaty with the American people and immigrants who gave up their country of origin that have been here for 10 years and have been paying taxes for at least 10 years or more under your own social security card. If you've been here for 30 years and you've been paying taxes under a social security card, I don't give a fuck about that either. even if it ain't your social security card. My point is, you've been paying taxes under a social security number, so you qualify for money for the people too. This is for people that have paid into the tax system. We're not getting anything back. But you could have a trade agreement. I want you to have a trade agreement with Americans. And you're going to give us our money, tax exempt, just like you do these people. You don't have to pay no taxes on this. Well, our tax dollars. And then they send the products here and we purchase them again, pay taxes on it again. The fuck? Money getting taxed 2, 3, 4, 5 times up the road. You got to pay taxes to have somebody deliver it. You got to pay taxes for it in the store. Cut flowers. Food, I kid you not. Food preparations, $58 million is what they paid Taiwan. I kid you not. Right here. Food preparations, $58 million is what they paid Taiwan. Processed fruit and vegetables, another $50 million. Non-alcoholic beverages, excluding juices, $45 million. These are the imports into our country that we pay to get from another country. United States imports of services from Taiwan were an estimated $6.3 billion. You can't really see it. Can't really see it. But I kid you not. This is what I'm reading to you. And so I wish that white people, Hispanics, whatever the people in this country, if you don't have $10 million in a bank account that you don't need to use, even if you got $1 million, right? Even if you got $2.3 million, stop voting against poor people. We all need to vote together. And sometimes this is not about kicking everybody out of the Congress. This is about saying, listen, you're taking our tax dollars and you're spending this much of it in an investment to give us goods in this country. Because that's what they'll say to you. Oh, well, Americans want goods. Yeah. But why can't you pay Americans with our tax dollars to make these things instead of paying Taiwan? But you won't have so much fentanyl in this country. Because see, you cut this off, there's no reason for us to do business with them anymore. Right? Look at the people in Taiwan. Do they look rich to you? They look like us, everyday people. Only the 1% in Taiwan is rich. And then there's 2% that's well-to-do. Same thing in this country. There's about 3% well-to-do. So 3% and 1% is 4%. What the fuck the other 96% of us doing? Voting for motherfuckers that's not voting for our interests. Oh, that's right. They got us talking about race and who's having an abortion and who's gay. So we can't get from in front of our own nose to vote together, to vote on, even if that is your issue. Insist that the person that is in office does money for the people fund, because there's already a money for the people. So the money for the people fund. Congress established that money for the people. I ain't seen no money get no people get no money but them. And this don't have nothing to do with Trump or Biden or the Clintons, Carter, Johnson, whoever the fuck was in here, Reagan. This don't have nothing to do with them, because I've been telling you all along, all of those people vote together. I don't give a fuck what the news says about them. It was a partisan bill. When you tell me it's a partisan bill, that means you made me argue with a motherfucker over here. And so while I was arguing, you was over there negotiating. But you didn't negotiate on my behalf and in my interest, because my interest was over here arguing about nonsense. Nonsense. When are we going to stop doing it? Am I going to live long enough to see it? trade balance. The United States good trade deficit, because we owe them, with Taiwan is $30.2 billion in 2020, a 31.2% increase or $7.2 billion over 2019. 1 year. The United States has a service trade surplus. A surplus means you have extra. A surplus of an estimated $2.6 billion with Taiwan in 2020, down 16.2% from 2019. So if you have a surplus, it's only an estimated $2.6 billion. But if you have a services trade surplus, but you have a goods trade deficit. See, what services you being provided? What services? We know what the goods are because they just named them. What services is Taiwan supplying? 2.6 billion with Taiwan. All right. Because you know what that means? They being paid. We not getting paid. Investment. U.S. foreign direct investments, FDI, in Taiwan, meaning stocks. Why do we have stocks? Why do the United States have stocks? Do we own Taiwan? Do we own parts of Taiwan? Was 31.5 billion in 2020, a 8.8% increase from 2019. I thought we was in a deficit in the United States. How in the world could we be purchasing and investing in Taiwan? Have we invested in their townhomes? We invested in their auto industry? Because up here it says we in debt and we owe them. Right? Up here where the goods are. Right? Top import categories. The goods from Taiwan. You make no sense with this report where you say at one point we're doing business with Taiwan for products and goods, but then when it comes to services, there's a surplus. I mean, we've paid them for the services. As a matter of fact, we can do more business with them. But when it comes to the goods that they produced and provided to us, we owe them because we're a little behind on the payments. We paid them, but we still owe them. And what is Taiwan going to say? Oh, I'm only going to take 20 billion from you. You the other 10, I'm not doing no business with you till you give me the other 10. No, they're going to take the 20 billion. And the other 10 can be paid out over time because they got a guaranteed check. See, this is why I keep telling y'all, all this, we're going to blow up America. We're going to blow up the world. How you going to blow us the fuck up when it's the American people that's sending money to all your motherfucking countries? You ain't going to touch us, bitch. Because you are control of the people that we are putting in office. And they're sending our tax dollars straight to you. Even if they do owe you 2.6 or 10 billion in your products and your goods. In services, there's a surplus of business. What's the surplus? What they said, 2.6 billion. Surplus with Taiwan. So they can wait for their payment. Where they say the deficit was. Where is it? They can wait for the deficit of 30.2 billion. They can wait for that. Because between what you owe them for the goods and products and the total imports that are sent in, you only sent them 539 million in 2002. And then you broke down your leading categories. And you only sent them, but their top imports are the electronic machinery, the vehicles. You got 2.9 billion, 19 billion, 18 billion. So when you come down here and you see the word 30.2 billion, trade deficit. What does that mean for the goods when you jump down here and you jump down here and you see, oh, but we paying them 7 billion for this, and we paying them direct investments, we're paying them 31.5 billion, and that's an increase of 8.8% in 2019. So they're not getting all the payments for the goods. Look what they're getting in services. Hello? Anybody? Taiwan FDI in the United States, which is stock, was 13.7 billion in 2020. That's up 13.6% from 2029. Taiwan's direct investment in the United States is led by manufacturing, wholesale trades, and depository institutions. Would that be banks? That's what a depository institution is. It's a fucking bank or a credit union. Why can't we have American credit unions and American banks? Because you're not taking our money, our tax dollars, and giving it to us every week so we can make investments and come out of poverty. You're sending it to foreign countries. Could somebody wake up the fuck in America? Can some of y'all wake up in America? Oh, they killed black people back in so-and-so, and they never gave us our reparations. No, they did not. Killed white people too. They ain't gave them their reparations. They killed the white people that was standing in the street with us or riding in the cars with us. Shouldn't they get reparations too? See, if you stop using reparations to separate the American people, we wouldn't be voting for motherfuckers in office that will make sure that we don't get our own tax dollars paid back to us. Because if you can take our tax dollars and make an investment in other countries, you can make that same investment here. Don't tell us that we have to jump over all these hurdles with our goddamn tax money. Did the Taiwans have to jump over any motherfucking hurdles? Now, don't think I'm saying this and I'm using Taiwan, because it's all of them. Sales of services in Taiwan by majority United States owned affiliates were $7.8 billion. So they make $7.8 billion from the latest data available in 2018, 5 years ago. While sales of service in the United States by majority Taiwan-owned firms were $9.5 billion. So they're making money going in and coming out. Imports and exports, services, contracts, goods. Taiwan is making money. Why, when you look at their country, you don't see nothing but a bunch of poor motherfuckers like us? See, rich people figured out how to keep rich people rich. And all I'm saying is, stay rich. I ain't mad at you, but you're going to have to give taxes back to Americans. And when I hear Americans say, this is just the one for Taiwan, then they've got one for the fucking Czech Republic of China. Wow. 14.9 trillion was in 2020 China's gross domestic products. Real gross domestic products and the population was 1.4 billion. Again, the source is IMF, so I'm going to have to look up who that source was. Imports. China was the United States' largest supplier of goods. We purchased from China $437.7 billion in 2020. Now that was down 3.6% by $16 billion in 2019, but it's up 19% from 2010. Remember I told you the agreements were made back in the late and early and mid 1994s. They were ratified 3 or 4 years later, and then they go for 20 years. and then they extend it. If they terminate the contract to renegotiate, then they negotiate it, but it doesn't end for 10 years. Remember, I read it. The agreement that was original agreement, even if you terminate the contract today, you still got to pay on the agreement for the next 10 years that was in place at the time you terminated your agreement. And they only terminating to renegotiate. I mean, I want Americans to wake up about what we buying from other countries that we can't make in this. If you took, how many farmers we got? That's the other thing I was supposed to look up. I tried to look it up, and I couldn't find it. But let me just do a Google real fast. Do a Google. How many farmers are in the United States? $2 million. 2.003 million farmers are in the United States. That's it. So since we have that many farmers in the United States, then we have more than enough land to make machinery, goods, flowers, cut flowers. And they look at us and they'll say, oh, Americans, you're asking for something. You put us here and we're getting you goods. We didn't have to ask you, put you in office for you to spend all of our tax money in foreign countries. All right, so this is the People's Republic of China. Hong Kong. Investments, United States Foreign Direct Investment, FDI, in Hong Kong stock was $92.5 billion in 2020, a 3.5% increase from 2019. United States direct investment in Hong Kong is led by non-bank holding companies, manufacturing and information services. Bullshit. Hong Kong's foreign direct investment in the United States stock was $16.5 billion in 2020. Why are they only investing in us $16.5 billion, but we are investing in them $92.5 billion? Why? That's less than $8 billion away from $1 trillion. Hong Kong direct investment in the United States, Tracy Abrams, Georgians, people live down in Georgia in the United States. Hong Kong's direct investment in the United States is led by wholesale trades, things we could make in our country, real estate, and professional, scientific, and technical services. Really, Hong Kong? All right. Sales of services in Hong Kong by majority United States owned, not companies, but affiliates. What the fuck is an affiliate? See, affiliate is not a company, because a company you have to disclose things. Affiliate is an investment, and you can hide in Congress who's and then on the courts who's investing in these companies as silent partners, because it's overseas transactions. All right, Americans, because see, we the smartest motherfuckers in the world, but we last. But we go out and we let people say this is the greatest country in the world. Everybody's emulating us. Ain't no goddamn buddy emulating us. Bunch of goddamn fools. Sales of services in Hong Kong by majority U.S.-owned affiliates were $31.1 billion in 2018, while sales of services in the United States by majority Hong Kong owned firms were 7 billion. Last paragraph, right down here. I don't know what I did with my thing. Right down here. I kid you not. I kid you not. Why are we investing so much in services and industries and affiliates? Whose money are they investing? If it was their money, Congress money out their own pockets, invest all you want. But when you're taking $31.1 billion of my goddamn tax dollars with everybody else's, and they only invested $7 billion back, and they buying real estate. Hong Kong is buying real estate. Y'all about the dumbest motherfuckers I ever seen in a long time. This the last one. The motherfuck Mongolia. What the fuck are we getting from Mongolia? Please tell me what we getting from Mongolia. What do you have that says made in Mongolia in your house? What have you ever seen? See, the video is not to separate us further from each other. The video is to say, when are you going to stop? Even if you believe wholeheartedly what you religiously believe, your religious decisions should not affect your business decisions. This is about money. None of this got to do with religion. Who's having an abortion? Who's gay? Who's not gay? Wake up. Macau. What the fuck we buying from Macau? Or Macau? Or Makua? I don't even know how to say the goddamn name. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I never heard of the shit before. Never heard of it. Why are we spending? Because I said I'm not going to read them because it's the same thing as when I read the first one. Taiwan. All of these have the same information in it. I'm just going to the back, to the last where it says investments. At the end of each one, it has investments. Go online, pull the shit up if you want to see it. I'm just telling you, we got to stop voting against each other. We got to get our money. All right, United States Foreign Direct Investment, FDI, if I can remember that. FDI, Foreign Direct Investment. Direct investment, our money directly paid to them. So direct investment, our taxes. Because these motherfuckers ain't got no money, people in Congress. They're spending our money. And then they worrying about sending money for the war to, who is that? The little motherfucker keep making a war every time. Because see, Putin get paid on the back end of all of this. When he starts wars with all these countries, he gets paid on the back end because he's an investor. And that's why his investors right now are starting to get upset with him. Because if we stop doing business with all these countries, we are affecting their motherfucking money. Yeah. Because people stop spending in foreign countries. They stop spending when they know that somebody put a chink in the little chain of going around and around and around like a Donald Trump. There's a reason why people made Putin the bad guy. We can't do business with him. He's a monster. He's horrific. We still got contracts with Russia right the fuck today. We shouldn't be spending a penny of our money in Russia. But we got trade agreements with them, so we got to keep paying them. Fuck are we getting from Russia? Show me something in your house that say made in Russia. I'm wait. All right. We directed in Macau stock, and it specifically says stock, $1.4 billion. You could have paid off all of the white and black people that you owed reparations with, $1.5 million. You could have paid all of us half of what you owed us with this $1.4 billion that you sent over to Macau, whatever the fuck name this country is that I never heard of. in 2020, and that's a 32% decrease from 2019. Wow. That is a decrease from 2019. And it's still 1.4 billion with a B dollars. The fuck were we getting? Data on Macau's foreign direct investment in the United States is not available. You want to know why? Because we ain't got a motherfucking penny from a Macau. How you gonna have data about what you spent in their country, but you don't have no data about what they purchased from you? It should be zero, shouldn't it? Sales and services in Macau by majority United States-owned affiliates were 17.9 billion in 2018, latest data available. There were no sales of services in the United States by the majority Macau-owned firms in 2018. We paying them, they ain't paying us. Fuck, we're going to send 1.4 billion and 17.5 billion dollars of our taxes to these motherfuckers in 2018 and tell us you're not giving us reparations. Tell us that you're not going to give us money for the people. Acts. How? Why do we keep allowing this? Oh, that's right. You worrying about who fucking who. You worrying about who's gay. I keep forgetting. Silly me. Well, let me at least look and see what they claim we're getting from this Macau. The top two imports in 2020 were woven apparels, $35 million, knit apparels, $22 million. Special other repairs and returns, $10 million. Pharmaceutical, $8 million. Headgear, $7 million. The United States total imports of agricultural products from Macau totaled $1 million. The United States good trade surplus with Macau was $82 million in 2020, an 82.6% increase, or 387 million. 387 million on a country we never heard of for women's apparels that we could buy right in this country. Well, y'all please kiss my ass, because this ain't what they buying from these countries for all this money. But that ain't what the fuck they buying. We can make that shit right here in the United States. And this is the last one. Who is this? It's not the Mongolia. It's not the last one. It's just of the ones that I pulled out and printed, because I have them, the majority of them printed, or I've downloaded them, all of them. Our investments. United States foreign direct investment in Mongolia stock was $132 million, down 35.6%. So you mean to tell me we was doing over $200 million investments? Direct investments in Mongolia? What Mongolia sell? Don't they sell fentanyl? Don't they sell pharmaceuticals? See, don't think of it as a country when they say investments. The investments are with the rich people in these countries that determine what drugs we take in this country. And as part of their trade agreement, we're not allowed to sue them. So people get mad at the judge. That judge is stupid. No, the judge is looking at a trade agreement that the people that we sent to Congress made an agreement with these people that they can't be sued if they poison the fuck out of us. I'm going to need y'all to wake up. No data on why am I not surprised? No data on Mongolia's foreign domestic investment in the United States was available. They ain't got no data on how much they spent and invested in us. The fuck zero. Let me do my hair. There is no information on the distribution of Mongolia's foreign domestic investments in the United States, but yet we. Why not? Isn't that part of the agreement should have been that you must show us. We have to have you show us. Either put a zero because you didn't pay us anything, or zero because you didn't invest. But they're not saying that. They are making investments. They're buying up our land. You white MAGA people who think you own your land. They just started saying it on the news not too long ago, but I've been saying it for years. Although I just started this channel, I didn't just become who I am. 55. So this is not something that I'm just starting to say. All right. About the clerk. If you want to contact the clerk, here's the information. I don't know if you can see it properly or not. Okay. The reason that, and again, you can pause it and you can pause it and then read what it says. Actually, let me see if I actually have it on the screen. Yeah, I do. Here it is. I don't know if you can see it too well, but you can always pause it and see if you can see it. But what it says, the clerk of the house is Lisa Grant. Actually, it says she's a deputy clerk. And the phone number is 202-225-7000. The hours of operation are 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. You can call the clerk of the United States House of Representatives, and you can ask for these agreements. I don't know if these people still hold these positions. Opening, you can see that. But it's a list of the Democrat and Republican leadership. Who's in the leadership? And you can call and ask that as well. But again, if you just go to the website, clerk.house.gov/members, number sign, member profile. And that's where that one comes from. It's right up here, but it's so small to see it. Okay. That's where that comes from. And then they have everybody. They have everybody in here. Okay. They have all the people listed. See? Printed them out. Have their information. Some of them the pictures didn't come out, and that's okay. But yeah, these are the Democrats and the Republicans. Because I couldn't, I didn't have the ink to print the face of everybody. Some of these people may no longer be here. Like, for instance, she's still there, Nancy Pelosi. But a lot of these agreements were made with Nancy Pelosi and the Republicans all together. But we so busy arguing and saying who killed who and who kidnapped who and LGBTQ, and we don't have time to pay attention to none of these motherfuckers. And they all together. They all know about these agreements that I just read to you. Hakeem Jeffries, all of them. And so I keep saying to you, I keep trying to implore you. And if you reach the House of Representatives clerk, you can always ask for the Senate clerk once you reach her. I printed her information out too, but I don't know where it is. But the House of Representatives is where the bills start. So that's why I gave you that one. In case you did not know this, when they're creating bills, the Senate creates bills too. But the bills that I'm talking about, the bills that we need, whether a senator gets his or her hands on it or not, it still has to go to the House of Representatives and then back down to the Senate, and then from the Senate it goes to final passage and through the committees and all that stuff like that. So again, it's to our own benefit to work together. It's not in our interest to work apart and to work again. Now, are Democrats perfect? Do they do everything perfectly? No, because there's no such thing as a perfect person in this world. Ain't no such thing. But at one point, there were Republicans who did not mind voting with Democrats on our behalf. Now they're no longer voting on our behalf. So I don't give a damn if they're a Democrat or a Republican. You're not voting on my behalf. You're not voting in my interest. And you haven't been voting in my interest. Let's not act like this is something new. It ain't new. Nothing I'm saying to you new. Ooh, these little roots are thick. I'm gonna have to put my little thing in here instead of trying to get it to be done with this. Now I have another list that I'm going to show you. Let me see how long this. Ooh, this is 2 hours. I got a lot of cutting to do. It's okay. And I'm been up, away from a chair, doing my hair and everything else in between this dang on thing. Ouch. Ooh, baby. What? But at any rate, the numbers is just not adding up. The number of people in this population, the number of people that vote. Like I know one of my best friend doesn't vote, so I don't consider and count people like her. My brother doesn't vote. My kids don't vote. Most men don't vote. So I hate to say it, but I'm only talking to a few men and the majority ladies. If we could start voting together and we stop putting Republicans in, we can fix everything that Donald Trump came in there and unfixed. All that can be fixed. The Roe v. Wade, all of it can be fixed. It's just a matter of voting in people and voting in Democrats, progressives mostly, and getting rid of the Republicans. In order to fix what's going on in this country, we got to get rid of Republicans out of Congress, out of the Senate, in your states. You got to stop voting for them because they letting their greed take over, and it's not fair to the rest of the American people. So we can't keep letting race be a factor in every single solitary decision that we make. It can't be, because we're never going to get beyond it. We can't keep letting LGBTQ. We can't keep letting the white population is going to disappear. You're never going to disappear because you're us. You're us without pigmentation. You're not going to disappear. I had 2 babies that came out white. My children's father is he's not what you would consider light skinned, but he's about maybe 5 shades lighter than me. He's like really like a tan caramel, but tan. Closer to the tan than the caramel, right? I'm closer to chocolate, even though I'm not the dark chocolate. I am dark. There's no way in the world that he and I should have had 2 white ass babies. So please stop it. You're not going to get rid of. Now they browned up over time. My kids are, they're like their father's complexion. They're not dark like me at all. They're never going to be dark like me. Little motherfuckers came out looking like them, smelling like them, acting like them, and everything else. But that's okay. They his. I wanted them, and that's the end of that story. You get what you get. So, this is too much. I mean, I don't really know what to say other than to try to explain to people that people that are in the government that want us to fight against each other, there's a motive behind it. You say something about a Jewish person, they lose their mind. Oh, it's anti-Semitic. Even that, anti-Semitic. We're getting distracted on anti-Semitic. For what? For what? You know how many Jewish people in this country ain't got no motherfucking money, living paycheck to paycheck just like the rest of us? See, there's rich people and there's well-to-do people in all of the races. I'm happy that you made it. I don't want you to live in poverty. I don't want anybody in this country to live in poverty. That's my whole issue. But when the people that are in poverty are the ones that give you the ability to take billions and trillions of our tax dollars, collective tax dollars, and do businesses with other motherfuckers in other countries, that's what I got the problem with. That's where we need to stick together. We can't say, oh, it's too late because they're in there now. No, what you do is you say, listen, we're not going to keep you in there if you don't give us what we want. Because some people, they're not up for election. But once they get in there, oh boy, they sure want to stay. Why? Once they get in there, they'll stay for 30 years. Why? And that's why they never vote against themselves. That's why they never vote to, I can't see, put your glasses back on. That's why they never vote to shorten their terms and all, stuff like that, that they should be voting to, shorten their terms. They never vote to do that. All right, this straightening will have to last me. I mean, not straightening, but it would last a little longer, but my arms hurt. And so I can't keep my hands above my head that long. And I'm not gonna pay nobody $300, $400, $500 to hot press my hair. I'm not doing it. I guess I could put it on 450 and make it last a little longer, but it's on 410. This is good enough. It looked like it grew out some too. When you're old, your hair grows slow. Certain people. But the next list that I'm going to show you has to do with people and there's the way they did the chart. It's easy for me to understand, and I know how to read a chart. But there are a lot of people that look at a chart and they're like, "Oh my God, what the hell is all that?" Just let me get these little pieces of hair done so I can get them out the way, and then. This arm and this hand is almost done. Yeah, this video will probably be out in about I don't know, 4 days or so, because my roots, I gotten washed and washed my hair, and then I blow dried it. So this is my hair without me even flattening it. That's the texture of my hair and my roots without me even straightening it. So I could tell where it's grown out a little bit. But if I did not blow dry it first, it would just be curly. Now this is where I had this is part of my hair right here, where I had that gray hair. And I made that video talking about I'm a silver fox. Child, that gray hair is gone. And I don't know why. I also use a flax seed. Flax, Flax, seed. Conditioner to straighten my hair. Though I've not done it in a month. But it does help with my roots. Okay. Yeah. Let's see now. The root is the thing. You snatch it all the way down to the end, and it straightens it. Now my edges, I got to go back and do. But I'm not going anywhere today, so I don't feel like doing. I did them a little bit. Let me see. I can see better. Then in this mirror, I can see better on this screen than I can in that mirror. I don't know why that worked out that way. But at any rate, comb goes right through it, nice and smooth. Oh. I mean, it's going through it smoothly, but the thing is, my little edges, I could hear the crunch of my edges, and no hair. See? And I haven't even greased my scalp yet. I just washed it 2 times. Or did I wash it 3 times? Conditioned it twice. Got out of the shower. Then I started doing something, so it kind of air dried into a ball. So when I came on, what you first saw was because I was blow drying it. But I'd sat for about an hour doing something after I got out of the shower. So my hair, it air dried. But then down in the roots, it was still wet. So when at the beginning of the video, I'm blow drying the hair. Should I do this now? And then I put this protectant on it. What is this? Olive oil. I guess you can use any one. But I like this one because it says with coconut oil, and I don't smell no coconut. I can't stand the smell of coconut. I swear. But this is a heat protectant serum, if anybody wants to know. And this will give it so that I don't have to, and it tells you right on here, up to 450 degrees right here. Up to 450 degrees with this. And so that's why I got this one, even though I only got this on 410 today. But this is how you do your hair without it breaking off. You get it all the way down and go. You don't put a lot on there. I don't think the amount that I put on when it first came in, that's the amount. And then your hair will stay, nice and soft. But like my edges, I'm not going anywhere that I need to get down to them and get them. And what I usually put on my edges anyway is some type of wax from the dollar store. And again, I think it says coconut, but doesn't smell like coconuts. I can't stand the smell of coconuts. So it's nice and easy to put my hands through. I can even take this little teeny tiny comb and comb right through my hair. And so that's what you want. You want the hair to be able to, that you could just put a comb through it, right? All right, so let me do it. Let me do it for the day. See, this just goes right through. I can't even brush it because it just goes right through it. All right, let me turn you off. Let me get my thing so I can do my hair. And then I'll be back with the rest of the video. See, I wish we could pause this, but I'm afraid if I hit in stream, right? Because that's what you can do. You can hit in stream, pause it, and then it can say go back so that you could start it again. Because I would start and stop, and not just have it run constantly. And then I got to go back through 2.5 hours of video to cut out the parts that I need. But it's all right. Brush and brush it right on your edges and the back, then do your hair however you want. I don't wear baby hairs on my forehead because I'm a grown woman, and it doesn't smell. It hardly has. Now this is almost empty because I'm gonna get that in there, out of there. But you need so little once you put it on the brush and you brush it in. But I swear to you, I'm upset about my gray hair missing. I am upset about that guy. And then I thought I had two. I thought another one had come in. I did. But at any rate, this is good enough for now. And, you know, you put just that hair protectant on there so that the hair doesn't break off when you're frying it to death. But you don't need a lot. You do not need a lot of that protected serum, protection serum, heat protection serum. Is just so that when you be doing them hair, cause you know, if you got thin hair, like me, my hair is thin. It's a lot of it, but it's still thin. You certainly don't want the hot comb to the hot flat iron. It used to be a flat iron, a hot iron back in my day. It's not a hot iron anymore. You don't want the again, I can't see. You don't want that hot iron so hot that it singes your hair. That's the last thing you want. So my edges, when I get ready to go and do something, this will be fine. I just put a little bit on my edges to lay them down, to lay them flat. So you always see this little puff right here. Well, it's not there right now because I literally just did it. But it's going to thicken up, as women know, and some men, it's going to thicken up before this part does. So I see some women go in and they cut off the part that's straight because the part to your scalp is thick. It's just grown out. Don't tell this lady to cut her hair off. She ain't need to cut that hair, but let them cut it and start again. You know, it'll grow out in a year or so. I can't do that with mine because I used to cut my hair constantly. Now the motherfucker won't grow. It won't. It won't grow like it used to, but I know why that is. So anyway, I've not had anything to eat today, and I wonder what time it is. So I can only eat twice a day. Oh my God, I did not know that it was 4. I should have been. All right, so I always tell people to put Vaseline on their face and on their neck and on their hands because it prevents wrinkles, it prevents fine little cuts if you got a lot of wind on your face. These here, which would be a lot darker, or not because I'm using Vaseline. Even here, and that's darker here from me not getting sleep. I put it on here too, but everybody's face, when I say all you need is that much, I don't know if you can really see it, of the Vaseline. You only need that much. Rub it on both of your hands and then just wipe your face, your neck, and here. You think you're not spreading it around, but you are. You can feel it. Go behind your neck. And the thing is, you need to take some of it off of your hands. And so by wiping it on your neck, this is how you spread it around, and on your ears. On your ears, okay? Because I'm always telling people, you don't need that much. Use Vaseline. I'm always typing it. You know, put some Vaseline on. It doesn't matter what you say you use on your face. Either in the day or at night, put some Vaseline on your face. Because not enough to make it greasy. And this is one of my days where I shaved everything and washed my hair And then I take a little bit more. Again, this is all you need. This is all you need. All right. Now, what am I going to do with this? Put it on my hands. That's right. Put it on my hands, in between my fingers. Make sure my fingers, this part of my hand, because inside of a woman's hand and men's, not just for women, men's hands and women's hands can get rough and callousy. And petroleum jelly heals. You do not need a lot. So when I put this on, not only does it get rid of the ash in between the knuckle, to get rid of that. This is the same thing when I get in the shower. I wash the front of my hands, I wash the back, and to get rid of any extra, I just rub my hand right across my elbow. And this helps my elbows not be so dark because I'm constantly bearing down on them on the table where I should not be. Should not be doing it. And they were black at one point. This whole thing was just black as my hair. Yes, my hair is red, but it looks black, so I don't say that it's red. See, it was dark. Look how dark this one is. Look at that. I really beat that one up versus this one. My elbow. I don't know what happened here. But you know what? Put Vaseline on it and it's going to lighten up. Again, just a tad. Vaseline. It'll lighten up. So, and eventually if I wear my glasses down here, these will go away. But I read so much, and a lot of times I fall asleep, put the glasses on, and they're pressing like this. So, yeah, I didn't know that was like that. But, all right, good enough. It's gonna be cut. Forgot my lips. And as far as my hair goes, that's how you get Vaseline off your hands. All right, and then the good thing about the Vaseline is that even when I wash my hands, go to the bathroom or whatever, I still am protected by the thin layer of Vaseline. Sometimes if you don't want to put something on that's going to clog your pores, you can put take it out of your Vaseline. That's why I have two Vaselines. One's for other stuff and my foot. That one is for my face. And I've had this Vaseline now, what, 2 years? This big one right here, 2 years. This is Vaseline brand Vaseline too, 2 years, just for my face. So I'm good for the next 50 years. So, but I am going to go and buy 3 more of these because I plan on, doing some things in the future, and I need one here and I need one where else I'm going to be. But either way, I'll be covered, because where this costs, literally this costs $1 out dollar store, this Vaseline brand costs $1. They're going to be increasing this, and eventually this thing gonna cost $10 or $9.99 or something like that. So I'm gonna go stock up on them. I was supposed to do it this month, but I forgot. But things like that, the shower curtains, the little thin shower curtains that only cost $1, now they cost $1.25. But in Walmart, little shower curtain I got that I buy, I'm gonna do a video on getting washed. I'm getting washed, but I'm waiting to get a one of those blinds so you can't see me getting washed, but I can talk to you with my neck up, and I can lift my hands and stuff without worrying about my boobs and stuff showing on either side. I'm getting it for my office. I'm just going to take it in the bathroom and use it and explain about getting washed. I realize people do know how to get washed, but there are some people that are adults and young adults and kids that don't know how to take a shower, that don't know how to get washed, or maybe somebody taught them and they didn't teach them accurately enough. Some people just put people in there and say, oh, you're a kid, you know what to do, just do it. But I meant to show you about this stuff here. Is you see how my edges are here and how my edges are here. What you do with this stuff, all right? You just take it and put it on because it's wax. And I can use that little bit of wax, do the whole front edge. Look at that. See that? And that's what keeps my edges laid down. And I just comb the hair back into place. And I like to use this when I wear my my wig pieces, especially in the back. So that's why I don't worry about trying to get the comb all the way down and try to burn my edges. Yeah, I get them close, but even without putting the wax on it, it's still okay. Okay, and so this just blends in right into the hair, and there you go. Just that little bit of wax. All right. So we don't have to worry about this little dry part sticking up, or this little dry part over here, which again, I'm not going to do it. And that teeny bit of wax that I put on there is still on this brush. You do not need a lot of this wax. But, because I don't want my edges start falling out either. So, yeah, that's how you take care of your little... And this is just for people who don't know. Or people who can't afford to go out and spend so much money. So that's why I say that this little wax in here, and there's some wax right down in here in this corner. Just that little piece that I took off the side of here, I was able to do my whole front. See that? Again, not a beauty video, but I'll make a copy, and the parts where I talked about my hair or I did my hair, I'll save that video for another time. But we are done. The whole bald head is done. And we are happy with that. And so, all right, let's get to this. Hello. Just took a little break. And now we're back. Hair is done. All right. I wanted to save my ink, but in order for you guys to see it, I need to print it out. List of United States cities with large Black populations. Now, this is a map of the United States. File opener. Just kidding. All right. If this is the United States, right? Right? And the green is indication of where Black people are in the entire United States. This is supposed to be a representation of Black people in the United States. All right? You see it's majority yellow, right? a little olive in here, right? And then there's concentrations of black in here. Showing a map like this is something that I'm talking about. Why are black people centered over here in these cities off the shore? Why? No black people over here in these lands? The list says that our population, it says percentage of population of black alone or in combination. So where you saw the darkest of darkest, dark green, that is 80% or more black people. The next shade of green was 50% to 80%, and the next one was 35% to 50%, 20% to 35%, 10% to 20%. And then you get into the last three colors. The very last three colors, 1, 2, 3. This color right here, where I said, this color right here. See, they have us all over, right? But we're concentrated mainly on the north. Why is that black people can only live in the north? Because we're all over. The whole map is showing us. This is not a map of white people or even Hispanics. This is just black people in the United States. So if we're all over here like this, and then when you get down to the last three, I'll take my glasses off to see it. It says 5% to 10%. Then the next one says 2% to 5%, and the next one says less than 2%, where it's yellow. Less than 2% of us are all over here. And then when you get to this yellow color, it's like here, 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 here. Little specks all over, right? Little specks all over. And we're all, of course, just all in here. And then you get to this olive color. And you got the olives, in here, here, here. Olive, right? See, this is olive. This is not olive. This is this. So this is the olive that's all interspersed in here, and then it's starting to move out and come this way, right? 5%, 1%, and then this olive one is 10%, right here, 10%. This is over in Texas. If I'm reading my map, California. I'm sorry, California. This dark one, and this is dark one up here, and it's a little dark up here. Then they got little dark dots up here because see, it's getting darker as the percentage of black people go up. So you got your little dark specks, your little darkest. Okay, all right. I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to show you. And so what I'm trying to say is, since black people is everywhere, why don't we have black people representing us in these states? You mean to tell me that because there's less than 2% black people where all of this yellow is? See, this color yellow here is less than 2%. This yellow right here, not that one, the one that's surrounding this, that yellow color right there. This is the lightest one on here because the whole map is yellow, and then it goes into green. There's no white on this map. So it's just a map representing where black people are in America. And we are everywhere, according to this map, right? This is from Wikipedia. And this is this is the data from the list of the 2020, 3 years ago, United States Census, okay? So let me just read the first paragraph because it says, the list of United States cities with black populations covers all incorporated cities and census designated places. So even if you're not a city, you're designated a place where they have to take a census designated places with a population of over 100,000 and a proportion of black residents over 30% in the 50 United States, District of Columbia, and the territory of Puerto Rico, and the population in each city that is black or African American. And so this is right now what tells you why they're not telling you how many people, what percentage we actually are. All right. So it says there's a total of 14.2%. Now that's up because, they said we were only 13% of the population, if you recall. We're always told that we're 13% of the population, but we're not. We're 80%. I've explained that in my other videos. I'm not going to go over it. The reason that we're in detail, like I did in the other video, I'm just going to tell you the reason why we can't be 14 or 13%, excuse me, of the population. Besides the fact of the list that I just showed you, with the when I first started the video about the population broken down by white, black, Hispanic, island Pacificers. All right. Those numbers alone don't jive that we're only of 13%. Excuse me, now 14.2% as of this. And they have an asterisk by it. I don't know what the asterisk means so far, but and then they actually give the cities and the state. That's what they do. They give the percentage by the city and the state. But this says the source is the 2020 census. This is how they've always determined that we were 13% of the population. You know it can't be true because we got babies by everybody. Everybody got babies by us. So I just wanted to make it simple to you and white people. We already outnumber you, boo. We're not trying to kill you. We're not trying to harm you. You don't outnumber us. I don't understand what your animosity toward us is. We already outnumber you. They're only talking about people on the census. I got a family of 10. I'm the only one on the census. There's 9 other motherfuckers in my family, and then their family and their family and their kids, they ain't on the census. They ain't been on the census since we've been born. Only I am on the census. My kids were on there when they lived with me, but now that they're grown, they ain't on the census. They don't take the census. Their kids ain't on there. Their kids. Well, they ain't got no grandkids yet. Well, maybe one of them have. I might be a great grandmother. I don't know. There's DNA issues. But their kids who he had a baby by, she ain't on the census either. And she's white. So stop this foolishness that we only 13%, that we're only 13%, we're only 14% on the census. And so when we vote, this is where they're getting the information from, because the same people that don't bother to be on the census, they're the same motherfuckers that's refusing to go out there and vote. So women, we have to do it. The few men that are doing it, we have to do it, but we got to stick together. So all this stuff about, back in the day when they were telling us, they're going to get rid of this and don't have abortions. Now all y'all went out there heave-ho about letting these motherfuckers get in and take away the abortion. Now you need an abortion and you can't get one without going to prison. Now you need an abortion and a doctor won't give you one. You got to go to another state and hopefully get protected and hope that governor doesn't decide to prosecute you anyway. Right? See, this is what y'all did. Going out there talking about who can have a baby or who can't have a baby instead of minding your fucking business. Can't tell somebody that's raped they got to have a baby. This is a breakdown of the Black population. Why am I doing this? Partly is because reparations. I'm trying to show you that the Black Americans in America, we're less than 4% that qualify. And then the other of us are white Americans are 1% or less than 1% that qualify through lineage to get reparations. And it's owed. It's a debt. It's like you paying all these countries all this goddamn money for these treaties that you entered into. And all of y'all getting money from these countries. Okay. So anyway, you have the state. Let me put it to you. Wikipedia. The state, Black percentage, Black alone. The population, the Black population, and the Black alone population. And it's by state. That's why you see the flags here, right? Wikipedia. Here's another one. that I broke down. Okay, I'm not going to go over all of them, but this one is list of United States and territories by African American population. So this is the one where the 14.2 that we just went over, and then this is the one, another one where it's filled in, and it's just filled in the colors. Whereas this is more splotchy, this one is more filled in. So you see, we are all over the United States and the territories of those that are on the census. And then it has a breakdown of, and it has the flag of each, state and the percentage. It has the rank, the Black or African American alone, and it has the number. And then it has the ranking. Virginia Islands, most Black or African Americans are in Virginia Islands, the District of Columbia, and then Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Maryland, Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina, Delaware. See, is listing where we live based on that census, where we live. And see, this is why a lot of people don't do it. North Carolina, Delaware, Virginia, Tennessee, Florida, Arkansas, New York, Illinois, Michigan, New Jersey. And then it says the United States of America. And then it starts again. So I'm sorry, up here, if I didn't tell you, this was a state or a territory, which I was listing, a state or a territory. Now here it says the United States. These are the states and the ranking. And then it says Ohio, Texas, Missouri, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Nevada, Indiana, Kentucky, Oklahoma, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Puerto Rico. You know that was a state, right? Yes, Puerto Rico is a state. Even though it's an island, it's a state of the United States. Wisconsin, California, Kansas, Rhode Island, Nevada, Arizona. And then that's it. I think I'm missing something. Yeah, I'm not going to read all of this because what this is African American percentages of population from 1990 from 1790 through 1990, 200 years, right? Black or African Americans alone or in combination in 2000 through 2020, 20 years by the United States and by territory. And so first it shows you the state and the territory. And then when you get down to wherever it is, you flip over. And that's why I said I'm not going to read all of it. I was just reading the first one. And then you get to the United States somewhere on this page. On this page here, it shows you the United States, broken down by the United States. Okay? So I did this because I wanted to know what portion of the population in my state are there Black people. So the city they picked was Newark, and Newark, I don't know why they put that city, but anyway, New Jersey. And they're saying the Black percentage is 53.22%. Black alone is 49.45%. The actual population is 311,549 people live in Newark. And then the Black population of that 311,549 is 165,802. And then the Black alone population, where they're just Black, they're not mixed, is 154,048 people. And so because they've done the work, you're not going to be able to see that. From state to state, they've done the work already. They've broken us down already. I'm just highlighting this one thing. You only have to give 154,048 people in Newark reparations. if these people have lineage to a slave. These people right here, they may or may not have lineage to a slave. But this is just black alone population. This whole thing right here is just black alone. These are black and mixed. This is the entire population of the city. So if you do this and you break it down, there's no way that you can't pay reparations to black people in New Jersey. You can pay reparations state by state if there is a claim of reparations. And so that's why when some people say, oh, it's going to cost $14.2 trillion to pay everybody back reparations. No, it's not. You're talking about discrimination. You're talking about housing discrimination. You're talking about job discrimination. You're talking about violations of civil rights. You're talking about a whole bunch of stuff that has nothing to do with the fact that there are those of us that are left still alive, white and black, who had slaves that were brought over. Finish with that one. Stemming from 1770. And that's why I printed this list. Because this list is even more important than the list that I just showed you before. This is even more important. Again, Wikipedia. And the title is List of U.S. States and Territories by African American Population. That is the title. See, that's the title. Go to Wikipedia and you can pull it up. And so the reason I'm showing you this is because 1770. Now, these are the states or the territories. They're in the United States of America, there was 19.3% population. I come all the way down here to 1990, and now the population is 12.1%. Check my all right. Check my battery. Okay. So where's New Jersey now? Where is it? And this flag, and these flags are even better because it really goes in and it gets it by the race right here. This is really good. It just gets it by the race. So here they have in the United States all total 19.3% because see, they're counting everybody in the territories, everybody in the states. So right there, when they say that we're only 13% of the population, they just mean we're only 13% on the census that's voting. Right? You understand that? White people especially. We already outnumber you, and you existed decade after decade after decade. Nobody is out there hunting you. Nobody is out there trying to kill you that is of color. Okay? So stop, because you're trying to keep us poor and you're keeping yourself poor. In Alabama, they don't even have a number. In Alabama, American Samoa, they don't have a number until 1990. Of the Americans, so that's why that column is blank. American Samoa, people of color, 2% in 1990, 200 years later. So when I hear about these Africans that came here and want to say that they have no, you don't, because it tells you right here, a lot of you people, Guam, look, Guam, Hawaii, Idaho. People didn't start arriving, black people, until 1900s, 2%. Then you come over here. Is this Guam? Yeah, and Guam, black people didn't come from Guam, 2.3%. And then it went down to 1.2% by the time 10 years later in 2000. This is every 10 years, this top lot. In New Jersey, in 1790, the slaves were already here. 7% of the population, 7.7% of the population. And see, this is how you can determine state by state who is entitled to reparations and who is not entitled to reparations. because this is New Jersey. Yes, I'm preparing this for my governor, okay, because they were doing committees and commissions too, and I don't want them to include everybody because everybody but wasn't even here. Don't matter if you moved here sometime after that and you here now. This is after the time when everything happened. And I told you everyone was a slave, but in 1778, slavery was gotten rid of by all the people who had instituted it and initiated it. So any slavery after that was done by pirates, and it was illegal. So when United States sanctioned slavery to be in the South, and then those that ran to the South and the people in the South and the government called them and had us, our ancestors, our land taken and had them sent back to the South and to work again. Then they escaped and they came back up and they went to the railroads and this and that. Not everybody got sent back. But you took these people's land because the slave owners set them free. You took my land. You took my culture. So people go, no, you're not even a slave. What are you talking about? All right. Here's New Jersey. 1700, 7.7%, 1800, 8%, 7.6% blacks in New Jersey, 1810, 1820. It went down to 7.2. 1830, it went down to 6.4. 1840, it went down to 5.8. 1850, it went down to 4.9. I keep looking up because sometimes the numbers would jump. Let me see, 60, 70, 80, 90. Okay, it didn't jump. Then 10 years later, 1860, it was 3.8%. 1870, it was 3.4%, 3.4%, 3.6% for 1880, 1890. And then in 1900, in the state of New Jersey, there was 3.7% of slaves of your entire population. 1910, there was 3.5%, 10, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. It went from 3.7%, 5.2 to 5.5 to 6.6 to 8.5. See how it went up? Let me do it again. Starting with 1900s, it was 3.7. In 1910, it went down to 3.5. Then it went back up 1920, and then it kept going up 3.7. See, ask yourself what happened in the 19. My mother was born in 1930. 5.2% in the year 1930. And she was born in Virginia, mind you. And then she had to, and she didn't come up here till she was 18. And so 5.2, the year my mother was born. I'm sorry. Yeah, 5.2, 1930, the year my mother was born. Give her 20 years. 20 years later is 1950. It's 6.6%. See, my family left the slave states and came up here. So stop telling me I'm not a slave and I don't have a right to what was left to my mother and my grandmothers and my aunts and my uncles. What was mine? What was my culture? Because my mother was born on a plantation. So you have a lot of people that's my age and our kids that we were still treated like slaves in America in the 1900s and then all the way up to the 2000s, all the way up to 1990 to 2000. That's why I made the other video and I said, well, they put things into practice after they start killing Martin in 1960s and Edgar and all the other ones and Malcolm X. And they started killing them and beating them and the JFK brothers, but people were still slaves. The law hadn't changed. Literally, the law changed 1968. I was born in 1967, and people tell me, you're not a slave. What the fuck are you talking about? I was born into slavery. I don't care what they say, oh, it was abolished. I'm talking about when it stopped. When the United States and the different states actually stopped slavery is not the same thing as everybody keeps saying. From state to state, it was different. New Jersey was the last state to abolish slavery. Fuck, you gonna tell me I wasn't born a slave? How you gonna tell me my mother wasn't a slave? I mean, sometimes you all are trying to be so slick to discount what people are saying because we're older and things happen to us that has not happened to you. But we're telling you it's coming back. You can't imagine yourself being in raggedy clothes and then shackles on your ankles and around your neck and be hung in a tree. You can't fathom it, because look what you were born into. You were born into what we sacrificed and could not have because our skin was black. But you're going to find out. You're going to find out. Especially the ones that get on here and make videos about Thomas Sowell. Yes, what he said was true, but he only telling you about before slavery in this country. His premise is it's not a big deal that slavery was in America, because slavery was all over the world before there was in America. He's not telling you there's no big deal that there was slavery during America, because the other countries had stopped doing slavery. They created what? Treaties. And you young people aren't learning this. You young people don't know this. But let DeSantis get in there. Let him take away your rights and tell him you can't have sex with nobody until you're married. And if you do, you go into prison. And if they suspect that you're gay or have a gay friend, they're going to put you on a firing squad. This is real. That's what's coming for y'all. If we women don't stop the foolishness. Because I guarantee you all these problems that people are having with other people, as soon as they pass the law that gives us the one-time payment reparations for those white and black people who qualify, and for all Americans, no matter what your race, not migrants, but immigrants that literally came here and that have been here 10 years and been paying into our system and don't have another country somewhere else that they're going to run back to and take our money. Don't take our money, our tax money, and send it anywhere, because the purpose of the Fund for America is to help our economy with our taxes. Now, does that make sense? Because I said that before. Take our taxes in my other video, give it to us, and let us invest it back into our domestic economy. Does that make sense? If I'm somebody who watched me when I said it then, and you've seen what I'm saying now, if they can take our tax dollars and then put it in all these foreign countries and do trades, give us a trade. Give us a treaty. Let us qualify. So we can help the mom and pop stores stay afloat. So we can help the poor people that's sleeping on the sidewalk. There's a man, what's that man's name? Let me look it up. He makes houses. He ain't the only one. But he makes houses for about $30,000. $30,000. He makes some for $10,000. It's on wheels. And he takes them, he builds them, and he puts them up he's bought land, and he's want to do like little communities and stuff. Pretty soon, because he makes the nicest houses. Okay, so this is one. This is one guy. What's his channel? Building a tiny home on wheels for a homeless guy. Beer Runs Bus. BEERRUN Bus. BUS. He built this tiny home for a homeless guy, for a homeless man to live in. And do you see that on top? What they have on top on that tiny house? That's how you get your electricity in there. And he can plug in anything, and he can cook. Now that is something that you could do to help people in areas where it's just so overcrowded, to get them out the street. But the other one that I was looking for, did I miss their show? Let me put them in my save to watch later. There are some people who can purchase van and build up their van. Okay, people who have license that to help get rid of our homeless population. And then there's these little houses like this. That's stationary. I'm getting to the one because they're going to show them. They got to show them. It's a shame because I watch all the time. I watch him, and now I can't. Let me tell you something. This is something like what I want. It's not the exact one that I want, but it's something like it. But I still want to stay stationary. I don't want to not have a place to stay. I don't want to do that. But this is another one, even though they're playing Barbie, but this is a real truck with a house on it. And so there are so many people in this country. They just brought in the one that I said it was like the one that I wanted. Like the ones that I wanted, is something like the one that I wanted. My thing. Look at this. I can't wait to look at this. I just like to look at them. I wouldn't want to live in a big giant bus like that because gas. So they haven't figured out a way to make that all electric. The day they do, you can sign me up. I can live. I'll be ready to go. But and then just to show you. I think this is it. Tiny box homes. This is it. Look at the bathroom. Look at the bathroom in a tiny box home. Why do you need more than that? A shower, a sink, a toilet. A toilet, as some people say. This is so, let me get the glare, so nice. And this is inside of one of the little tiny box homes. And I think that's what it's called. So let me type that in. Tiny box homes. Oh, Incredibox. Incredibox. That's what it's called. Okay. Here it is. Now you tell me this is not nice. Here it is. This is beautiful. And so what he did was, and this one is
all right, behind me is the Incredibox. This is a 20-foot Incredibox off-grid package included in there for $39.9. Let's take a tour, show you what's on this sucker. All right? Did you stop me? Okay, I thought you hit the button. All right, we're continuing filming.
Here he is.
All right, inside this phone box is a 100-gallon water tank with a water catchment system, right? If you guys have never heard of a water catchment system, any debris that's on top of the ceiling or the roof falls in.
Do you see? Oh.
The gutter, all the debris falls into this pipe. So all the mud and the bird doo-doo, all goes in here, fills up, and there's a ball in
pulled
here.
By a truck.
It goes up, and as the water goes up, the ball floats on top of the water, and all the debris is underneath the ball, and then it hits the top, and then all the clean water bypasses because the ball's stopping the water from coming back here anymore, and it's full, and then you get cleaner water into your tank. Then inside, when we go inside, I'll show you. We have another filter system in there, the pump system that goes to your sinks and your shower. Okay. All right. So that's a 100-gallon tank right there.
And you
I
see,
talked to some guys out west that were in Quartz
connects
Lake.
right to the gravel.
Randy, if I had a 100-gallon tank, I could probably go 3 weeks because my mom and dad used to live in a motor home.
3 weeks.
For 13 years, and my dad said he could take a shower. He could shower, shave, rinse off with 1 gallon of water. Wow. Yeah, that's 100 days right there. Wow. All right, so.
That's true.
This is with our old.
If you don't take a shower for an hour.
The original Incredibox right here, almost 2 inches thick, closed cell spray foams inside 2 pieces of metal. It will not rot. There's no 2x4s in here. It's engineered. We've got over 5,000 pounds for a snow load on top of this sucker.
You see that? 5,000 pounds.
It's 20 foot long. You won't believe what the inside looks like. Now,
let's get there.
This has been painted inside and out, so you don't have to do anything with it. So we've added some things that was at a time. It is 4:32. That means we got to get this video out today. Yeah.
Look at that.
4:32.
Look at the inside of that.
May 25th. Newport,
you can't
Tennessee,
beat that.
39.9 off-grid home water catchment. And now I'll show you the solar. This is the 2K battery, lithium battery. Tankless water heater, right? Mm-hmm. Compost toilet. Look at that. compost toilet, and then here
And it's off the ground.
Yep. That's your off grid. That's your midnight control, inverter charge controller. Here's your water pump filter system. Now we left this open. There's another cabinet door that will hide all that.
Okay.
You guys buy this sucker, we'll throw that cabinet door on there for you.
Okay.
And leave all the furniture and decorations in.
Okay.
36-inch shower. This is a household shower. This is not an RV shower. It's a fiberglass shower. We put in all our critter boxes. 36-inch wide. Of course, there's your hoses and stuff that came back from the show. I mean, your electrical panels. Now, one thing that Nicole did that I thought was really cool.
And you can put a washer dryer combo in there.
What do you call that? Sponging or faux painted or something?
It's just it's where you just sponge.
You sponge
like
it.
Sponge, yeah.
So they painted it, then she went back and sponged it. But look how cool. You can't see the screws.
Mm-hmm.
They're like gone.
Yep.
Yeah, you really can't see them.
Do whatever you want with the inside of it.
Seams. That really surprised me, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you can hook this up to a truck. Take it wherever you want to go.
So there you have it. You've got two 3040 windows. You got a 2030 in the kitchen bathroom.
Yeah.
Look at all the natural light in here. You have a loft. $39.9 for a tiny home.
Cannot beat that.
Completely off grid.
Yeah.
And that's something.
That is amazing.
But he has some of them where you can take them and put them.
You have a gray water tank, compost toilet, tankless water heater.
And I saw a space.
It's already painted inside now.
I saw a space where you could put a washer dryer combination.
$39.9. Give us a call within the next 24 hours, and I'll leave everything in here. All right. Thank you. I'm Randy Jones with Incredible Tiny Homes, and I'm sticking to it.
Randy Jones, Incredible Tiny Homes.
Where'd they go? Oh, he's in the truck.
Now this is somebody's that they painted. Come on.
All right, behind me is the Incredibox. This is a 20-foot Incredibox off-grid package included in here for $39.9. Let's take a tour.
Don't tell me you've been videoing. Have you been videoing this whole time?
Wow. Wait, $40. How much are they paying you to wear that?
Oh my gosh, sponsorship. Yeah, that's amazing.
This is the lady that's always behind the camera. This is his sister.
All right, flex your legs. Look.
My legs.
Look at everybody.
Look. Ace. I've been doing squats.
Yeah, she got some strong ass motherfucking legs. She look good though. Okay.
In the flower.
Okay, this is the one. Look at this. Look at this house. See, it's on the track. This is how they take it from where they're gonna go. But this is a whole house. It's a whole tiny house. And I believe this one is 30,000 as well. But he has tracts of land that he'll take you to. And if not Randy Jones with the tiny house Incredibox, somebody else, but I know he's making them, and I've been watching him, and he's making quality. I would live in something like that, and not the apartment that I'm in now. I would live here, but you don't have to worry about purchasing land, or you can purchase an acre of land and put this on it. So if people were getting that 1,000, what is this at? Not 1776 a week, they could invest. They could invest in this. And I don't know why we have people that's so busy wanting people to invest in other people's homes, but not invest in us so we can have homes.
What is that? What are you doing?
Administrator for summer help and stuff. And
this is where he's at and where he builds his stuff. I mean, you could Incredibox. Incredibox Tiny Homes is the channel.
Back into that and have them here.
Yep.
Another one is when will these be built? The month of October.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
And so,
what about the regular build list?
Yeah.
The homes that are on our regular build
this
list
particular
right now,
one is $15,600. $15,000 tiny homes, 8 by 16. I'm sorry.
By October. That's why we're setting 1 month in October
So
just to build these homes.
Yeah.
let me hit the thing. There you go. All right, let me come out of this. I gotta get ready to get out of here. I got my hair done, so let me get out of here. finish saying what I was saying, because there's so many people that are homeless in America. It makes absolutely no sense that that we are not voting in people to give us our tax dollars back so that we can invest in America and we can invest in companies like that, or we can purchase from his company and not the government but us. And the thing is, oh, why should Americans receive $1,776 a month? You know, if you're 18 or older, and an American, we can't afford that, but we can afford that. If we can afford all that money to just those countries that I showed you, and there is a 3-page list of countries, plus we're paying for wars. Why do you keep telling yourself as an American that the government can't give you your taxes back to build into your GDP, gross domestic products? We can't do it because there's no money for it, because all of our taxes are going to other countries. And I'm not saying we should stop paying other countries. I'm saying we need to start paying ourselves in addition to the other countries. Because the thing that people are worried about, well, if we start making stuff and building stuff ourselves, then we don't need the other countries. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying do that to help American companies that are already in America come support them and come out of bring Americans out of poverty. There's enough money to do it. But this is New Jersey. So you go on there and you go through your state where you were at and see when black people first got there. Because I'm telling you, there's a lot of states where there wasn't no black people till the 1860s. Guam didn't have any till 1990. Hawaii didn't have any until 1900. Indiana, 1800. But the few that I'm talking about is this very first column. You see how it's empty? There's some here, there's 2 here, empty, 1 here, 2, 3 here, empty, 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 right here. See, this is what I'm talking about. A lot of y'all can't trace your ancestors back to the ones who were kidnapped, that were kidnapped and brought here after 1778. So we're not talking about 14% of the entire black population that exists as it exists today. We're talking about, of that 14.2%, going by these latest numbers, those that have a lineage going back. And that narrows the number down. And then on these last 2 pages, it just gives you the total population of who was who. So, all right, I'm going to go because I'm sleepy and I'm hungry. I'm sleepy and I'm hungry and I'm hungry and I'm sleepy. And it doesn't make sense that we're still making up excuses why we can't pay reparations to blacks with lineage and those few whites that with the lineage. This other one that I wanted to show you is called Black Southerners. Again, I got this from Wikipedia. And here are the few, I'm going to read them, the few southern states. It says the total population in 1980, right, is 11,054,127. And then in 2019, it is 20 million. So it's up 9 million people. 20,595,194. And that number is found right here. Population in the black southern states, black southerners. What southern they considered, they drew a red, and these are the states. They drew a red line. I guess I should really see what that is. Okay, so the states are Mississippi, Georgia, and the United States, not Georgia, the foreign country. Louisiana, all of these are United States countries. Louisiana, South Carolina, Alabama, North Carolina, Virginia, where my mother is from, Tennessee, Florida, Maryland, Texas, District of Columbia, Arkansas, Kentucky, Delaware, Oklahoma, West Virginia. The languages spoken were Southern American English, African American English, Gula, Afro, Seminole, Creole, and Texan. Those down in the southern states. And so that's why they have that twang and they say words differently. So sometimes I'm saying something on YouTube and it's like, why is she saying that old stuff? No, my mother's from the South. So it's just your culture and your ethnicity, where you come from. I was born and raised in the North. All my influences, or and mine and everybody else's, is from your parents. So you can live in the North and have Southern tendencies. But all right. I just wanted to show you that the history of Africans in the South states to 1619, when a ship headed towards San Juan, Mexico, was interpreted by two pirate ships. The pirates expected to steal precious metals like gold and silver, but they found that the ship had 350 Black Africans from the Kingdom of Ndongo on the Kwanzaa River in north-central Angola. The pirates took 60 of the best and healthiest slaves of the English colony of Jamestown. I'm sorry, to the English colony of Jamestown in the United States, with the hopes of selling them to the manpower-deprived city. But the settlers of Jamestown, and then the story goes off. You can go and read it yourself, because I didn't print it. I went over the race populations, and then one other thing, last thing, is one last thing I wanted to show you is that I was able to find this. Oh, did I put where I got this from? Lord. Right. This shows you how many people, and I did this before, but I'm just doing it again as an update. It shows you how many people in the Senate have been on there and how long and how many years they've been on there. It's 2 pages. And that's why I said if they've been on there, the longest person, I think he's deceased now, was Robert C. Byrd. 2010 he stopped. But he'd been on there 51 years, 5 months, and 26 days. Patrick Leahy, Daniel, this person is from Hawaii, Strom Thurmond, all of them were on there 49 and 47 years. Edward Kennedy, he's again deceased, 46 years. Orrin Hatch, 42 years. Carl Hayden, 41. All of these people are on 41 years. Chuck Grassley, John C. Stennis, and I think Chuck Grassley passed away recently. All of them on their 41 years. Ted Stevens, 40 years. Thad Cochran, 39 years. Fritz Hollins, 38 years. Richard Russell, 38 years. And Russell Long, 38 years. Mitch McConnell, 37 years. Actually, it's more than 37 years because I think I printed this I know I printed this last year, and he just got reelected for another 6 years. So 37 and 6 is going to be 43 years if he doesn't die before that. Why are y'all leaving Mitch Mitchell in Congress for 43 years? Francis Elizabeth Warren, 37 years. James Eastland, 36 years. Warren Magnuson, he was just over there the other day showing his ass in Congress, 36 years. Joe Biden, 36 years. Pete Domenici, all the rest of these people are 36 years that I'm about to name. Peacock Dominici, Carl Levin, Richard Lugar, Claiborne Pell, 36 years. Then you got Kenneth McKellar, 35 years, and Milton Young, 35 years. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. And this is why I said, if you've been in Congress 25 years or more, you need to be replaced by somebody now that's going to give us the one-time payment reparations and money for the people. Now, this list was very important, this one here, for me, for my research. I believe I got this from either Wikipedia or the United States gave me this one. Okay, this list is numbers in the thousands because it's like this. So it tells you right here that the numbers are in the thousands. Okay, this is not millions. Okay, it talks about the residences in 1964 and color. So they go by same house and then the total. The residents in 1967 and color total. And then the next column is the same house. And then there's the total. And then there's the same county, and then they have the total of in the same county. And then they have different county migrants. These are migrants that come in within a state. And then they have the totals. They have Northeast, North Central, South, and West. And then abroad on March 1st, 1963. Those who were abroad, meaning they're in another country or they were fighting at war or something. All right. Type of residence of the population, 1 year old and over. So if this is, you were 1 year of age or older, and then it says by mobility status, region of residence, and then by color. For the United States, March 1964. I hadn't even been born yet. Okay, I wasn't born until 3 years later. All classes of people, 185,312. Non-farmers, then it says farmers, then it says in central cities, outside central cities, non-farmers. Metropolitans, and then we get down to whites, and then non-whites. Okay, so here's the whites, 163,614, and then it's broken down by the columns that I said, you know, the same country total, same household. Non-farmers were 152,300 and it looks like 7. Those who were farmers, 10,507. In the metropolitan area, there was 104,643 people. This is the different houses in the United States, okay? And then different counties, including migrants, all right? And then it says between states by region of residence in 1963. And this is just part back here that I'm not going to read. But I just wanted to point this out to you. Non-whites were 21,698. And then it says metropolitan, in central cities, outside of central cities, non-farm, farm, something tropolitan, cosmopolitan, non-farmer, and farmer. This is how they took the census back then. And now we have, yes, metropolitan, the percent of distribution. This is the part I wanted you to see. All classes, 100%, non-farm, 100%, farm, 100%, metropolitan, 100%, 100%, everything all the way down says 100% of the total population. But in the column that matters, do you see how the numbers, when you get over here to north, east, north, central, south, and west, all the way at the bottom down here, where everybody is accounted for, 100%, right? Everybody's accounted for. And it's, well, for B, it says this class is less than 150,000. That's what the little b means. But down here, let me get my pointer. Down here, and I know this is not a good thing. That's why I told you the title. This is percentage of population. 100% is accounted for in 1964, before I was born. So please stop. And then when you go over here, you get to the break it down by individual territories where people were living in the United States. And you see how the numbers break down to the 0.6%, 0.7%. When you get down here to the percentage, and you go down to the whites, non-whites, and you take this column all the way over, and you see that there wasn't a lot of us here. So there can't be a lot of us now, even though we had babies and we did grow. We did grow, but we were all segregated out. It's all the 0.7, 0.7, 1.2, 1.2, 1.2, 0.9, 1.0, depending on, where you look at 0.2. But within the state, you see the numbers go up. If you were within the state, 3.3, 3.0, 3.9, 3.3. And then when you go to this column, it tells you the total that were in the same county. If you were in the same county. So when you look at the whites over here, 100% of the population accounted for in the same county, you get 12.2%, 12.2%, 12, 12, 12, 11, 11. But then when you get to, and it tells you by farmers, metropolitan area, in city, outside of city. But when you get to non-whites, it's 100% counted, 75.8%. Though up here at the whites, it's 79, right? Right? So why are they telling you being erased out now? Anyway, up here where there's all cities, we go down to, when you get to the whites, there's 19.9% that's in the same house. And down here, when you get to the non-whites, you got 24.6% in the same house. Mind you, this is back in the 1960s, 1963, 64, right? Your total. And then when you got who's in the same county, and you come down here by the percentage of distribution, and this same county, and you get to the non-whites, there's 19.3, 20.1, 9.7, and that's non-whites, 19.3, non-farmer, 20.1, farms, 9.7, metropolitan area, 21 point whatever, in the central city, 22.9, those that are outside the central city, 18.1. If you are a non-farmer, you were considered 18.7. And then B, it says farm, but less than 150,000 of the population. And then it goes into the metropolitans, 13.9, non-farmers, 14, and then farmers are 10%. But let's take that same column and go right back up here to the white population. There's 12.2% in the same county. Non-farmers are 12.19%, 12.5% were farmers, white people, okay? But non-white people, there was 20.1. Do you understand that? We had land, y'all. We had farms. Farmers for white people. Non-farmers were 12 point to the non-farmers and the blacks, 20.1. These are farmlands, 6.7, compared to the 9.7 of black farmers. Because this is who they're comparing us to. Whites, non-whites. Whites, anything that's non-white is black. We're not talking about Hispanics. We're not talking about, have no Hispanics own no goddamn farms in the United States in 1963. And so you see the difference in what white people owned in 1963, 4 years before I was born, and what black people owned, right? So that's why I went and got that. That's just one of the lists that I went and got. But all right, this video is 3 hours and 39 minutes long now. One time I fell asleep and it stayed on for 12 hours. So now I know it'll cut off after 12 hours. But I did that mostly to point out that we need to vote together. We need to start voting together, and stop this foolishness about who can have a baby, who can't have a baby, and who kill. If people had money, the money, they wouldn't want no abortion. Think about that. If you have money and you can take care of your baby, and you got pregnant, and you had an option, and you didn't have to be on welfare, who would have an abortion? Yes, there'd be some abortion because you can't force someone to have a baby before they're ready. So whether you have a clinic where they can have an abortion, or whether they're just going to go and get rid of it some other kind of now illegal way, the baby's still not going to be here. The thing that you think you're stopping, you're not stopping. So instead of pointing all these fingers at each other, put people in office, vote people in the next election. If your primary probably is over already, because I think all the primaries ended in June. But, primaries have been happening where the people that are going to sit in the House of Representatives and the people that are going to sit in the Senate for the next 4 and 6 years, or the next 2 and 6 years, those before the new elections come again, those people are in there and they're just causing all type of havoc, and they just, come on. We need to do better. Stop blaming people in Congress when we're sending them there, because we're either staying home or listening to Thomas Sowell saying slavery doesn't exist. So what? We're talking about right now. We're talking about our money. We're talking about the people that are in office that are agreeing. Democrats and Republicans are the only two parties that we have. I was writing somebody and he said to me, I'm not a Republican. But he was against Democrats. So yeah, by default, you're a goddamn Republican. If you're not voting for the Democrats, which is what he said, then by default, you're a Republican, even if you stay home. By default, you are the opposite of whatever group you call yourself supporting. All right. Have a great day. And please go out and vote. Vote for people that are going to give us what we need in our country with our taxes. Okay. Have a good day. Have a good day. I do a couple of endings in case, one don't work. I can pick the other one. Have a good day. Let me get out of here.